Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Fahima from Miscellaneous Video. Today I will read an article from the Daily Star newspaper, which is a Bangladeshi newspaper. The article published at 18 February 2024. So let's dive into the newspaper article. The article is about GDP growth of Bangladesh, which shows to 13-year low excluding pandemic period. Bangladesh's gross domestic product grew 5.78% in the last financial year, one of the lowest paces of expansion in 13 years, as consumption nosedived, according to the final figures published by the Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics (BBS). Now we can see a graph about GDP growth rates over the year in percentage in Bangladesh. The sources of this information: Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics. A provisional estimate released in May last year showed that the economy expanded by 6.03% in 2022-23, down from 7.1% in 2021-22. Fiscal year 23's GDP growth was one of the slowest since 2011-12, with the 3.42% posted in 2019-20 being the lowest, driven by the devastating effect of the coronavirus pandemic, when many countries in fact saw contraction. Compared to the provisional numbers, the growth rate in the agriculture and industrial sector increased in the final estimate in fiscal year 23, while it decreased in the service sector. The service sector's growth dropped 47 basis points to 5.37% in the last financial year that ended in June. Compared to the interim estimation, it was 6.26% in financial year 22. Agriculture GDP was up 76 basis points to 3.37%. The industrial sector GDP rose 19 basis points to 8.37% in financial year 23. It was 9.86% in the final estimate a year ago. Owing to the lingering impacts of the coronavirus pandemic and the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine war, Bangladesh's economy faced one of the worst periods in fiscal year 23, with foreign currency reserve plummeting, the taka losing its value sharply, and inflation surging to record levels. Jahid Hussain, a former lead economist of the World Bank's Dhaka office, said the service sector saw slower growth, mainly because of people's reduced purchasing power. On the one hand, the prices of essentials increased. On the other hand, wages did not go up. As a result, people had to cut back on their non-essential expenditures. Activities in the transport sector and the trade sector also slowed down. According to the BBS, the growth in wholesale and retail trades, which contribute 15.26% to the GDP, dropped 27 basis points to 6.68%. It was 8.46% in financial year 22. The transport and storage sector, which accounted for 7.29% of the GDP, witnessed 50 basis points decline to 5.49% in the final estimate. The service sector's performance was impacted by the slowdown in real estate, financial and insurance activities, accommodation and food service activities. On Thursday, the BBS for the first time published its quarterly report on GDP and released a report on the first quarter of the current fiscal year. It showed the economy grew at 6.07% in July-September of 2023-24. The agriculture sector witnessed an expansion of 0.84%, while it was 2.07% in the same period of financial year 2023. The service sector's growth fell to 3.96% from 12.87%, while the industrial sector grew by 9.67% against 7.17% a year earlier. Hussain said the country has been experiencing higher inflation for the past 2 years. This affected the service sector's growth. In Bangladesh, inflation has stayed at an elevated level since May 2022. Hussain termed the industrial sector GDP growth as puzzling. Imports of raw materials, intermediate goods, and capital machinery declined. How could then the sector see an upward growth? Although the growth in the agriculture sector clocked an upward trend in last year's final estimate, it dipped in the first quarter of fiscal year 24. Hussain, however, said any degree of growth in the agriculture sector is positive because arable lands are not increasing, rather they are shrinking gradually. That's all for today. Thank you everyone. Have a good day.